The chief executive for talent agency WME's parent company Endeavor, Ari Emanuel, reveals what he says went down when Justin Baldoni was fired from the agency and how he feels about clients Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
Blake Lively thought she could fool Hollywood, but now her career is spiraling into chaos. Once a beloved star, she's found herself caught in a whirlwind of public backlash after fans rejected her manipulative antics. As Lively's reputation crumbles, Justin Baldoni, whom she tried to bury, has managed to flip the script, emerging as the real winner in the eyes of the public. Hollywood and social media have reacted with swift judgment, and what was supposed to be a minor dispute has turned into a full-blown spectacle, revealing deeper truths about power, control, and the cost of manipulation.
If clickbait was an amendment, this is it. Okay, I cannot believe it. And there's so much more going on here. Now we really see the target of everything, I think, really the linchpin for her lawsuit.
Blake Lively's rise to fame as America's sweetheart once seemed like the perfect Hollywood story. She was the charming, down-to-earth actress everyone adored, known for her role in Gossip Girl and a seemingly flawless marriage to Ryan Reynolds. But that image has unraveled faster than anyone could have predicted. Lively, once a symbol of grace and likability, is now being seen as manipulative and entitled. The public has begun to see through the layers of her carefully crafted persona. It turns out that behind the smile and the perfect PR moments, Blake's true nature, characterized by controlling behaviors and a desperate need to dominate, is coming to light. Her attempts to manipulate the narrative around her career have backfired, and the truth has caught up with her in a big way.
Oh my gosh, I mean, how terrifying, but thank goodness that they are completely on top of that, yeah.
Question about Taylor, have you spoken with her? How concerned are you with Austria concerns?
Oh my gosh, I mean, how terrifying, but thank goodness that they are completely on top of that, yeah.
Fans, once loyal, have started turning away in droves. Blake has seen a staggering drop of over 864,000 followers across social media platforms. That's not a small dip. It's a clear sign that the public is no longer buying what she's selling. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni, whom she once tried to sabotage, has seen his popularity soar. His follower count is growing exponentially as fans flock to support him over her. The shift in public opinion couldn't be more dramatic. Hollywood insiders and fans alike are beginning to back away from Blake, and her reputation is suffering. The backlash is strong, and it's clear that the once celebrated actress is losing ground fast in both the industry and with her audience.
All right, guys, well, I am very pleased to announce that it's finally over. It's finally dead and over because of Blake Lively, the actress. She has personally come down and ended modern feminism for me.
The Hollywood Reporter cover from February 22nd was a defining moment in Blake Lively's public downfall. What was supposed to be a routine magazine feature turned into a brutal exposure of Blake's manipulative tactics. The cover illustration depicted Blake launching a slingshot at Justin Baldoni, a clear metaphor for her attempts to sabotage him. For months, Blake had been painting herself as a victim in the media, but this cover revealed a different side of the story. Instead of being the wronged party, Blake was now clearly portrayed as the aggressor, making it impossible for her to continue spinning the narrative in her favor. This marked the moment when the industry and the public fully turned on her, shifting their support to Justin and exposing Blake's true intentions.
What they are saying in this complaint is that Blake never wanted to sue Justin or anyone involved in the situation, accusing her of only trying to repair her public image and avoid going any further into the legal process.
What really made the cover impactful wasn't just the illustration itself, but the timing and the message behind it. The piece didn't just poke fun at Blake, it dismantled her carefully constructed image. It was a public execution of her manipulated narrative, showing her for what she truly was, a woman willing to tear down others to maintain control. The deeper issue here isn't just her attempted manipulation of the media, but Blake's undeniable need to control every project she's involved in. Even when she wasn't in charge, she tried to take over the reins, overriding decisions and forcing her will on everyone around her. This behavior, rooted in entitlement and power, only magnified the flaws that the public had begun to notice.
It Ends With Us, a highly anticipated film based on the Colleen Hoover novel, starred Blake Lively and was directed by Justin Baldoni. Everything seemed to be all sunshine and rainbows at the beginning of this year as Justin was arm in arm with Colleen Hoover promoting the movie.
Blake Lively's desire for control went far beyond what anyone expected. While working on It Ends With Us, a film she wasn't even directing, she somehow managed to take the reins of the entire production. Despite only being an actress and an executive producer, Blake started overriding the director's decisions, forcing changes to the script, and pushing for alterations to the film's direction that didn't align with the original vision. Crew members and cast members began to notice her increasingly manipulative and entitled behavior on set. She wasn't content with simply acting, she needed to be in charge. Her attempts to dominate the project made it clear she saw herself as more than just another team member. She wanted to run the show.
After Mr. Baldoni learned that he had caused Miss Lively and others to feel uncomfortable, he turned his TED Talk and feminist advocacy on its head. He did not hold himself and other men accountable.
The atmosphere on set became tense, as many crew members allegedly feared speaking up against her. Blake and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, held significant influence in Hollywood, and it wasn't lost on anyone that challenging her could result in career consequences. This power dynamic created a toxic work environment where those involved were too intimidated to voice concerns, allowing Blake's control freak tendencies to flourish unchecked.
This case, subpoenas for electronic records are so crucial. I mean, do we forget how all of this started when Lively filed her initial precursor complaint with the Civil Rights Department I mentioned in California?
Blake's desire for control didn't stop with the production of the film. She also targeted Justin Baldoni, trying to ruin his career by twisting situations to make him look bad. Her transparent PR efforts to smear Justin became increasingly obvious, but the public quickly saw through the lies. It was clear to many that Blake's manipulations were less about justice and more about maintaining her own power in a shifting industry.
You would never see in a complaint that seems to suggest if we're really going to look at what happened on the set, we're not just going to take anybody's word for it, and that there may have been a relationship here that went alongside of the acting.
Blake Lively's attempt to play the victim backfired in the most dramatic way. In an effort to save face and regain public sympathy, she tried to weaponize the Me Too movement, but instead, she ended up looking like a fraud. Her attempts to frame herself as a champion of women's rights appeared less about advocating for justice and more about controlling the narrative to suit her own needs. Blake wasn't looking to empower women or expose real issues. She was trying to cover up her own missteps and shift the focus onto a movement that she thought would rally people behind her. Unfortunately, this tactic fell flat.
This thing is I likened it last week to like Lance Armstrong. Dug himself so deep in the lie that he couldn't get out. He was at the point of no return.
Instead of winning support, Blake's desperate spin only intensified the backlash. Fans saw through her manipulation, and rather than being convinced by her victim narrative, they saw her as a woman trying to use serious social issues to hide her own flaws. When she faced intense criticism, Blake doubled down on the victim role, but this only amplified her problems. Social media tore into her, with users quickly calling out the inconsistencies in her story. Her attempts to manipulate the public for sympathy were transparent, and fans weren't buying it. Instead of rallying behind her, people began to see Blake for what she truly was, a woman more interested in preserving her image than in supporting real causes. The more she tried to spin the narrative in her favor, the worse the public's reaction became.
How they kind of misdirected a lot of the narrative of what's happening right now in the Justin Baldoni Blake Lively case. But before we go into that, one of the things that the article mentioned was the actress Jenny Slate.
While Blake Lively's reputation crumbled under the weight of her manipulations, Justin Baldoni found himself unexpectedly rising to the top. Despite all the drama and attacks thrown his way, he remained calm and composed, refusing to get pulled into the mess. While Blake was scrambling to defend herself, Justin took a different approach. He stayed silent, letting his actions and integrity speak for themselves. This calm demeanor paid off. While Blake's followers plummeted, Justin's numbers soared, with his fan base growing steadily, proving that the public was turning against Blake and rallying behind him. His rise in popularity wasn't just about staying out of the drama. It was about the public recognizing his authenticity, in contrast to Blake's increasingly manipulative tactics.
And this woman is clearly the victim, and you could see, like, how could she possibly experience that at this person's hand? Or when she does experience it, she's out right away and has a revelation. You don't normally see how gray it can be and how confusing it can be.
When the controversy first emerged, many fans sided with Blake. She had painted herself as a victim, and for a while, people believed her. However, once Justin began to release receipts, the narrative shifted dramatically. It became clear that Blake's claims weren't rooted in justice or any true desire for women's rights. Instead, they were about her need to control the situation and maintain power. Justin's transparency and his willingness to expose the truth revealed the real story, and the public began to see Blake for what she was, a woman willing to twist the truth to maintain her grip on Hollywood. The more he let the facts speak for themselves, the more his victory became inevitable.
Justin alleges that Leslie propagated malicious stories portraying him as a sexual predator and orchestrated a smear campaign against him at Blake's direction. However, the publicist's attorney alleges in a February 20th motion to dismiss the lawsuit,
Blake Lively's legal battle has quickly turned into a disaster, exposing just how far she's willing to go to manipulate the truth. In an attempt to strengthen her case, Blake edited text messages in her lawsuit, hoping to sway public opinion in her favor. However, Justin Baldoni's legal team was one step ahead. They kept all the original messages, exposing Blake's edits and revealing her strategic omissions and lies. Legal experts quickly tore her case apart, pointing out the contradictions and inconsistencies in her accusations. What seemed like a strong case at first has unraveled, and Blake's desperate attempts to rewrite the narrative are failing. The more she tries to manipulate the legal process, the clearer it becomes that the truth is starting to break through.
The moral crimes committed here by Ryan Reynolds against Justin Baldoni have amounted to high treason. After having read through the amended lawsuit, Ryan absolutely must go home, and I have got some major scoops. I mean, everybody's talking because the sink is shipping and people want to get onto lifeboats.
At the center of Justin's legal defense is Brian Friedman, a lawyer known for his no-nonsense approach to cases like this. Friedman has been dominating the battle, systematically dismantling Blake's claims with precision and making it clear that her accusations are without merit. While the public closely followed the Johnny Depp vs. Amber Heard case, this situation is different. Unlike Amber, Blake has no solid public support. The public has already turned against her, and her legal team's attempts to paint her as a victim are falling flat. Friedman's strategy is working perfectly. He's exposing the truth, and it's becoming increasingly difficult for Blake to keep up with the lies.
You know, the ship that not even God could sink is sinking. It's going down because God is God, okay? Also, it's the anniversary of Jussie Smollett's hate crime, so it is indeed a dark day, the hate crime that he staged against himself 6 years ago. And so I decided to invite on...
Ryan Reynolds found himself unexpectedly caught in the crossfire of Blake Lively's spiraling career. As the public's attention turned to the drama surrounding Blake, Ryan tried to make light of the situation during the SNL 50th anniversary special. In a moment that was meant to be humorous, he jokingly responded to questions about the controversy, but the attempt fell flat. His casual attitude about serious accusations struck many as tone-deaf and dismissive of the gravity of the situation. Instead of diffusing the tension, Ryan's jokes only made the situation worse, drawing even more criticism from fans and media alike. What he likely intended as a playful comment was perceived by many as an unwillingness to take the matter seriously, further damaging his reputation.
Why are you doing that if you don't want to be doing it to you? There's a lot of this sort of like Blake complaining that they're invading the privacy, they're doing all this, but then meanwhile, right, she's on Saturday Night Live with Ryan making jokes, hitting back.
As the drama surrounding Blake intensified, Ryan found himself increasingly under scrutiny. Celebrities who once supported Blake are now backing away, and Ryan is no exception. His close connection to Blake and his attempts to shield her from the backlash have made him a target as well. The public perception of him has shifted, with some questioning his judgment and loyalty. Hollywood, always quick to distance itself from scandal, is now beginning to step back from Ryan as well, knowing that his association with Blake might be more of a liability than an asset. Ryan, known for his charm and humor, now faces the real possibility that his reputation could be tarnished by his association with the controversial actress.
It was someone that had posted, like my neighbor works on set. It was random, but people just rediscovered it. No one really paid attention 6 months ago.
Blake Lively's career is in freefall, with Hollywood insiders quietly rethinking their involvement in her future projects. Studios are hesitant to work with an actress who has been labeled a control freak on set, hijacking productions and throwing tantrums when things don't go her way. This kind of behavior has made her a liability rather than an asset, and her reputation in the industry is rapidly deteriorating.
Why are people making the comparisons? And do you think those comparisons ring true?
Jesse, thank you for having me. It's great to be here and to see you again. I think there are some comparisons. You have, on both sides, you have prominent actors, which you had also in the Depp case.
Blake's carefully cultivated image as the perfect Hollywood wife has crumbled. Her personal and professional facade, once built on charm and class, is now in ruins. Even her close friend Taylor Swift has remained silent throughout the entire ordeal, which speaks volumes about how serious the situation has become. With support from both Hollywood and fans fading fast, Blake's career may be on the brink of collapse.
I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, and creating the character. When I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull, because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do.
Blake Lively's reign in Hollywood appears to be over. Her manipulative tactics, desperate spins, and failed PR efforts have left her at rock bottom. As Hollywood turns its back on her and the public grows tired of the drama, Blake's career is on the decline. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni, the unlikely hero, has risen above the chaos. His calm, silent strength and unwavering integrity have allowed him to navigate the situation with dignity, while Blake continues to self-destruct. In the end, it's clear that Justin has come out on top, winning the public's respect and the Hollywood game. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this saga is far from over, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.